What's going on, everyone? This is Stephen from After Hours Video, and tonight on After Dark, we descend into the darkest, most unforgiving corners of horror. The jungle breathes around you, shadows twist with unseen predators, and every step forward could be your last. This is a world where ritual, savagery, and primal fear collide, where humans are prey, hunters are merciless, and nothing is sacred. The suspense creeps under your skin, the violence shocks, and the terror lingers long after the screen goes dark. Stopping by After Hours Video tonight is my special guest and friend, Josh from Beyond the Grave Media. What's going on, man?
Steven, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Wonderful. Of
Happy
course, man.
Saturday.
We are back at it again.
This is what we do.
And yeah, absolutely. And this is especially a topic that's not for the faint of heart. Um, we were trying to narrow this down to at least like around 6 essential cannibal horror films. And tonight we're going to dissect the madness, the gore, and the twisted fascination that makes cannibal horror unforgettable. Beware, though, the line between predator and prey is razor thin, and in this fevered nightmare, survival is never guaranteed. So before we jump on, like and subscribe so you never miss a trip into the wildest corners of horror, the kind of films you'd only find tucked away in the back of your video store. And drop a comment below. Tell us which cannibal horror tapes you've hunted down, which ones you've dared to rent, and which ones left you wide-eyed and terrified. This is your chance to relive the VHS thrill, swap stories of forbidden finds, and celebrate the chaos, gore, and madness that made these films legendary. Now grab some popcorn, pour yourself a drink, dim the lights, and get comfortable. Tonight, we're descending into the darkest corners of After Hours Video, exploring our essential cannibal horror films. The jungle is alive, the danger is everywhere, and the terror is just getting started. All right, man. So let's see. Take a look at the chat. Got Robert joining us. Hello, guys. I'm new to this channel. I have subscribed and ring the bell. And I have to say, I love the cannibal movies. As sick as that might sound, you are among friends here. Yeah, we are big fans of the cannibal subgenre. So first and foremost, I figured we might as well start off with one of the earlier cannibal horror films, Man from Deep River. So what's your relationship with this movie? Did you see this earlier on when you were getting into the subgenre, or just getting into horror in general?
I think that I seen this one like on accident, to be completely honest, like because it was after, like high school, something like that.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels like one of those, because it's an older movie. Is this 72, 73?
Yes. Yep, 72.
So, rewatching this, I think I've only seen this 3 times maybe. So I watched it when I was probably like, I don't know, 17, and then in my 30s, and then, Thursday night. It just feels kind of like, it kind of feels like you're watching Spartacus or one of those old movies, but it's done pretty well. It sets the table for what's to come. That's for sure.
Well, and I feel like, especially because this is very early on when cannibal cinema essentially was finding its legs to stand on. It's definitely taking a lot of influence from Mondo cinema, leaning very heavily into like the grindhouse type vibe that they're going with these type of films, or that we see more commonly as we will get further into the rest of the films that we're going to discuss tonight. This is one that, amongst others, Umberto Lenzi directed, and I feel like this at least laid down the foundation for what was to come a little bit further on. And just to give you guys an idea, if you haven't checked out this movie, just to give you guys a quick rundown of what this movie is all about. So in the shadow depths of the Thai jungle, a lone outsider is captured by a remote tribe, forced into a world of terrifying rituals and merciless survival. As he struggles to escape, the jungle itself becomes an oppressive, lurking threat. The lines between hunted and hunter blur. The film unfolds as a tense, visceral journey into fear, exploring humanity's capacity for violence, the terror of isolation, and the horrifying allure of the unknown. Each ritual, each clash with tribal ferocity ratchets up dread, making the jungle as deadly as the people who inhabit it. So let's kick it off with this one. So how much of the appeal of early cannibal films was the promise of forbidden sights you couldn't get from mainstream cinema? Because I would have to say, I mean, these are not these are not your run of the mill horror movies that most people go headfirst into.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you know, God, watching this thing, we're also I'm gonna have to use some expletives at some point too,
Oh, it's
because
okay.
this thing's fucking nuts. Like rewatching it again, man. I mean, I love survival horror movies. I love adventure kind of. So when I really didn't know that these kind of movies existed, this is like the first one that really kind of. I mean, I hadn't seen a lot of Mondo. I'd seen some Traces of Death and Faces of Death. So you see some of the animal stuff, which is going to be kind of a main theme as we go through some of these. But
Yep.
yeah, man. I didn't know what to expect when I first watched this. So
Yeah, it's Joel mentioned on a side note, The Green Inferno was a letdown. Are you a fan of
disagree.
that movie?
I disagree.
What?
I like the Green Inferno.
Okay,
I'm a fan.
interesting. Did you feel like so I know Eli Roth talked about it, that he took obviously a lot of influence from the cannibal subgenre, but more
For sure.
importantly, Cannibal Holocaust. There was a part of me that just felt like I don't know how much he really picked up on from Cannibal Holocaust, just with the influence and the message that that film was trying to get across. His movie felt very gratuitous and just straight
It
up
it
violence.
it definitely is. But I watched it. I went opening night in the theater with my buddy, and we thought it was a good idea to bring girlfriends to it. And it's a mean movie. It's like mean spirited. Um, I think in the theater I was a little bit let down, as Joel was talking about, and everybody's
Hmm.
gonna feel differently about it. But upon the rewatch, man, I feel like there's rewatchability. I mean, there's horrible characters, there's people that do horrible fucking things the whole time, and there's a lot of, really subjective subject matter in it. But I think that the gore is pretty like it makes me a little bit uneasy, which is hard to do. So some of those cannibal scenes in this movie and Green Inferno, like I fucking love them, but
That
it
is
is
one of the
cliche and cheesy
y-
at the same time.
that's one of those movies that I have a very tough time watching just because of like how graphic, how and listen, I can definitely handle gore, violence, in movies, but there's just something very unsettling about that one. I don't know what it is or the manner that these violent acts are, taking place. It's not a movie that I really go back to all that often. I have no problem going back to any of these, but that movie, I maybe it's a little bit because it's more visceral, feels more visceral. The effects have definitely come a long ways since any of these films that we're discussing tonight. So um,
Yeah, it's a nasty movie.
for sure, absolutely. Um, yeah, this is definitely okay. So we know that this is essentially like the birth of the Italian cannibal subgenre, and really laid the groundwork and established a template for cannibal films that would follow. Essentially, um, now you mentioned earlier that it's not for everybody, right? There's those scenes in a lot of these movies where there's like some violence towards animals, and I have mixed feelings on it. I know that it's almost like a trope that happens in these movies, but that doesn't make it any easier to handle
It's rough, man.
those scenes.
It's rough.
I know that Cannibal Holocaust, which is another movie that we will be discussing later, that is one that they have created essentially like a PETA cut where all the animal violence is removed. But I always encourage everyone to at least watch these at least once to understand the savagery that comes with this, whether it's man versus man or the animals that, like what takes place in these movies. It's terrible and tragic. And obviously, it wouldn't happen now, but it just goes to like really hammer the point that they're trying to get across in a lot of these movies. Could
Yeah.
you expand on that at all, or would you agree on that one at least?
Yeah, I mean, me and Steven talk all the time. We're talking about cannibal films because we love cannibal films, right? We're not
Yeah.
just like dipping our toe in. Like we've watched these movies a lot, I would think. So even for me, it's hard. Like my barometer for fucked up and what I can handle, it might be more than other people, and it might vary a little bit. But we're gonna get into some of the movies that we're covering. It's hard to get through. There's a specific scene when we get to that movie where, like, I just felt bad. I just felt like I can't do that, like, because I did three in a row last night. And if you haven't watched a
Oh,
cannibal movie back to back, it messes with you after a while because it's coming. But you know, there so we're gonna hit on the animal stuff, but I feel kind of like you need the animals to like almost make it feel dangerous. I'm not trying to be controversial with that statement,
no,
but you
no.
you feel like you're trapped when you see an anaconda or monkeys or Komodo dragons or cobras. You're like, okay, so the water's dangerous. Obviously, the jungle's dangerous. What's the most danger here? Probably the different tribes of people, the cannibals, wherever we're going in the movie. The animals are almost like a secondary character, which it wears you out, man, after a
Well,
while.
and you made a great point because I do feel like it establishes just how dangerous it is to be in any of these environments, and a lot of them take place out in the middle of the Amazon. For
Yeah.
this one specifically, this is taking place in for this one, it is in the Thai jungle, um, and it's just a place of the utmost isolation. Once you're there, there's no getting out, unless you have the off chance of somebody actually maybe coming to pick you up. Um, I mean, you're
That's the
you're
thing.
away from
Yeah,
civilization, you
you're
know?
stuck. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Now, I think a couple other themes I just wanted to touch on real quickly before we get further into this film is, the graphic violence, cannibalism obviously is very present, but you also have a lot of cultural shock. It's almost like the civilized versus the primitive in this, and
Definitely.
really, who is the monster in a lot of ways. I mean, Cannibal Holocaust was so great at delivering that message because um, it builds this idea up that the primitive tribes are the ones that are these
Oh yeah.
terrible monsters, and it's really the journalists. you know?
Yeah, Man from Deep River, I mean, with a lot of other things, you do like you're trying to figure out, is there warring, cannibals? You're trying like did the main character really, as he gets deeper and deeper, like you're kind of starting to sympathize with him. And then especially there's a female character and there's another trope with that just happens over and over again in these movies. But
Not easy
yeah,
to
you're trying
stomach.
to figure that out as you go.
Absolutely. Now the film mixes jungle adventure with horror. So, Josh, how do you think that this combination caters to the grindhouse appetite for like exotic thrills? Let's say.
Um, yeah, I would love to be older, and I can't imagine watching this when it came out, like in '72. I mean, I'm sure if you were used to those grindhouse movies, and so like even movies like Easy Rider, and there was like the exploitation phase, like I still think
Yeah,
this would probably blow your hair back. Like, what the hell is going on with these
I would
movies?
say. I mean, for the time, right?
Yeah.
It it had to have been like almost jaw dropping to see something like this because you didn't really have anything that was pushing the envelope to this extent.
It's so is that a cultural thing? Is that, because I know that this movie's in Italian and I watched it in Italian with English subtitle. Not there's no dub. I didn't watch it dubbed, but I was just reading the Italian,
Mhm.
and that does add to the effect a little bit to where you're having to pay attention to what's going on. So sometimes I wonder if it's, what we're used to in, North America compared to Italy. And like, I mean, I didn't see any movies before this that was like that. So,
I would say
or Italians just crazy with that. Like they
I
would, I
well,
don't know, man.
I would have to say that they are definitely a lot more visual when it comes to expressing a lot of different ways in cinema, and we see that in Italian horror, we see that in the cannibal subgenre, we see that in giallo films.
Oh yeah.
Um, you
Even the
know,
colors they use.
oh, it's definitely dialing everything up to like like probably 10, compared to what most directors were doing at the time. And I think that that's why I just love that they were always willing to take risks in their films. And Umberto Lenzi is no different. Now, do you feel like The Man from Deep River feels like it's pushing boundaries, or is it still pretty restrained compared to later cannibal films?
I mean, so I was thinking that maybe because we're gonna go into like 4 or 5 other ones, I was thinking this would, based on how I remembered it, I thought it was gonna be one of the easier ones to get through, to kind of refresh on.
Is there
And
an easy one?
I don't think that that's a thing. Like
No.
this, I I don't know if it's necessarily trying to push. I mean, it's shocking still. Like
Yeah.
the things that happen in this film, like I think I sent you a message like, dude, over and over we have the same thing happening. It's like in
Sanus.
72, it's like, man.
And Robert chimed in. He said, I really like the Green Inferno. Only Roth, an American in the 21st century, would have the guts to go to a different country and hire natives and make a cannibal movie. It's yeah, it's definitely going against what had become more common, as far as horror at that specific time, because I believe that that was what, 2013?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yes, 2013. And I felt like, I mean, we were decades past doing any type of like cannibal horror film. So, yeah, I mean, Robert's got a very valid point that, he definitely committed to it. But now the shock of real animal violence is the main factor in setting these films apart. Or did you feel like the shock of real animal violence the main factor in setting these films apart, or was the cannibalism and ritualistic horror equally important?
Cannibalism ritual. So with Man from Deep River, you still get animal stuff, There's a lot more fish, if I remember right, in this one
Mhm.
compared to other films. Don't they have a nickname for them too or something? So it's like it it doesn't, you still see a lot. I mean, snakes and there's still a lot of, I don't know. I think I would probably lean farther towards ritualistic horror in this one compared to the animal stuff,
Mhm.
but it does blast you with it within the first 10 minutes where you're like, okay, didn't really want to see that, you know.
Don't they refer to it as, is it Ugo the fish?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Um,
And what's the other title for this film? I forget. Um,
give me one sec. So we got The Country of Savage Sex.
yeah. I think there's a one-word title too, but I can't remember what it's called.
Sacrifice?
Sacrifice.
Yeah.
I want
I
to
don't
say that's what I seen it as, like
Yeah.
late
And that's
90s maybe.
that's one thing that I know. Yeah, Savage is the other title that I've seen it known as. That's one thing with a lot of these films and even Italian horror films in general is that you get a lot of alternative titles and how they were marketed.
Mhm.
And this film is obviously no different. Now, how do you feel like Lindsay's portrayal of the savage other, the primitive tribes, compared to how later directors like Ruggero Deodato approached it?
Yeah, I mean, you used that word safe earlier. If you're gonna have to watch one, this one is it goes down a little bit smoother than some of the later, um I mean, especially make them die slowly, eaten alive. I'd prefer to have to watch the tribes this way than, Diodato. He goes like right into the gore and ripping open innards and stuff. And obviously, they're always going to share a meal and sit down to fellowship with it. But this one does feel a little bit easier for whatever reason. Maybe it's
Yeah.
because it doesn't happen till a little bit like maybe midway in the movie, half. So
It's
yeah.
wild to me to see that Lindsay was so, I mean, he was so critical to creating so many of these. I mean, we had this and Cannibal Ferox and Eaten Alive, so those films are staples within the subgenre, and yet I feel like Ruggero Deodato made a masterpiece with Cannibal Holocaust, and I feel like everyone else kind of like falls in the shadows of that success. Um,
Well, we're
I don't
talking
know if
about another one of his later, right? So
yep, yep.
I can't wait to
So
talk that.
yeah. So now, do you feel like, and we were talking about the setting, right? So do you feel like the jungle itself feels like a predator, or is the real horror the people within it, whether it's the tribes, journalists, cults,
Um,
whatever the case is?
in Man from Deep River, I feel like it's you get more villages, I think, compared to some other cannibal movies.
Mhm.
Cannibal Ferox or Make Them Die Slowly has a lot of village scenes too, but I do feel like the jungle is more secondary to the horror of the people and what's happening. Um, yeah, if that
It's
answers
more
your
it's
question.
more like a looming threat.
Yeah, I
Like
feel that.
the jungle could quickly turn on you at any second, and I think that that's why those animal scenes, I don't love them, but I do think that that establishes just how unpredictable the jungle can be, and that I'm sure if you made one wrong turn, like, you know, you could get attacked or whatever the case is. Um, Now, was there a certain scene that hit you the hardest in this film? So, like any of the tribal rituals, cannibal feast,
Man.
them getting, the protagonist getting captured in this film?
So, like a lot of these movies, and we talked a little bit about this one, but
Yeah,
in this one, there is a lot of SV. There is a lot of violence towards females that just keeps happening, like over and over again.
it's a tough
Um,
watch.
and so, dude from Deep River, our main protagonist here, he's got kind of an axe to grind with it. So I think some of those scenes, it's almost like the animal stuff, kind of like you kind of lean in and be like, what is going on here? Like, because the first time I'd ever seen this movie, you're not used. This isn't a Spielberg Raiders of the Lost Ark type of adventure. Like this is fucked up. They're taking Marion, yeah, it's not good. So those scenes, I think in this one, I forgot how powerful those are, and I
Yeah.
was surprised that I didn't remember how many times that happens to this. Oh, and the ending effed me up too. Like it's like, God damn,
I
we need a
I
break.
f I know watching 6 cannibal films in a short duration was brutal. By the end of it, I'm like, "I need, like, a palate cleanser, give me Caddyshack
Oh
or
yeah, dude.
Ghostbusters,"
Little
or
cone heads, something.
yeah, just please, just something, you know? Um, Now, was there a certain moment in this movie that made you feel like it was something forbidden, like you shouldn't be watching it? Would you, probably agree that it was, the assault scenes?
Yeah, I think so. In a lot of these Italian cannibal flicks, man, you get a lot of full frontal nudity. In the movies you're watching, late '90s, even horror fans, like, you don't see that. So
No.
they definitely don't zoom in, and they definitely don't have blood, and like a lot of times people are cleansing the bodies with their rituals and stuff, and whether it's smoke or ash or blood or what, like, it's, yeah, that kind of stuff
The
I was not
blood's
ready
where it's
for.
like, I don't know, there's just something about that when
It's
someone's so
weird, man.
exposed like that, I'm like, "I'm not feeling this."
And they don't get closed for 30 minutes, like, you're
No.
like, okay, this is how we're all right.
Yep.
Give them a loincloth or something. They're covered in blood.
You gotta buckle up. This
Yeah.
was a film that I didn't really find out about till later, like, a lot of so I'd say about half these were as I was getting further into the subgenre. The one I, well, definitively remember was Cannibal Holocaust, and just how uncomfortable of a watch that was.
Oh
And then I
yeah.
branched off and watched Cannibal Ferox or Make Them Die Slowly and, Eaten Alive afterwards. But yeah,
Man.
it's brutal. Now, do you feel like, and this can be applying to any of these films, but do you feel like the grindhouse style or exploitation films like this, for example, are considered more exciting to rent than mainstream horror?
100%. Yes.
I
They're
gotta ask,
never in too. Steven knows you can never get them ever. Some jackass always has it out, man. They're never in stock.
did
Got
you
to sign
see
a waiver, right?
I swear. And did you ever see any of these movies, maybe outside of, let's say, Cannibal Holocaust? And even that felt like it was like a forbidden tape that we weren't supposed to be watching. But did you find any of these at your local video store when
The
you were growing up?
the only other one was Cannibal Ferox. That was it. But, you know, growing up, I mean, you're from a bigger city like Seattle, Olympia, Portland, like big Northwest cities. You would have mom and pops that would have, the curtain back there with adult videos, and then they'd have like a rack where it was, these are ones that are more than Hellraiser. These are ones that are going to be more than the Evil Dead.
Mhm.
So I do remember that image on the Cannibal Ferox cover with the knife. When you're young and you're growing up, a lot of times there's girls and scantily clad on the cover. So you
Oh
do get
yeah.
kind of like, as a kid, you're like, whoa, what's that about? Like even movies like The Nest,
I
I was
want to
like,
know more.
I'm drawn to that one, right? So only Cannibal Ferox and Cannibal Holocaust. The rest, I mean, they just kind of had like a legend to them. You kind of find out as you get older.
Did you have any of these? Okay, so like either or this or Cannibal Holocaust, did they have like the band in X amount of countries
Oh yeah.
or like there's something about that. We obviously don't really get those now, especially because we don't even have video stores. But back then there was something that just felt so like forbidden. Like you weren't supposed to be watching these tapes. This is like for the most depraved individual. And it's like I wanted to test myself to see like,
You would
do I
see
have what it takes?
that content, or it would say something like not rated, and you'd be
Yep.
like, okay, why
Uncut.
is there no rating? That's not good.
Yeah.
Got to find out.
Uncharted waters.
Yeah.
Um, and then how would you say how much of the film's appeal in a video store came from its reputation? And it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier
Word
was,
of mouth and stuff.
yeah, like banned in X amount of countries, extreme content, not rated. Like, did you feel like that played a big part of the appeal?
Um, yeah, I mean, some of these films, when you first like, if you can't rent it, you have a buddy that knows about it.
Mhm.
There's word of mouth, and there's some of these movies have a lot of legs in different circles where you're not really a horror fan, or it's not really a slumber party until you watch such and such movie. So I think these movies are legendary for a reason. I think a lot of people, any of these I pick up has that warning content banned in over 35 countries, where that speaks to people. They want to know like why, what's on this thing. Like you're never ready as many as you watch.
Yeah. No, it's definitely something that it feels very much of the time. I think as we got further into, I mean, what would you say? Probably the 90s onwards, you just saw less and less of that with, them being so discreet, I guess, about, like said movies, even if they did push the envelope.
Yeah, and a lot of stores just wouldn't carry them. So, I would go to this place. I don't know if the name it's called Hastings Video, and they would sell books and movies, and it was kind of like a Borders in a way.
Mhm.
And there would be like one or two DVD labels, Massacre Video and Grindhouse, that would put these out in really terrible quality, and they would sometimes they probably just be VHS rips. But yeah, I mean, and sometimes they were edited, so you just don't see
Crazy.
him. You just don't see him anymore.
And we got Alexander coming to hang out with us. What's up,
What up,
Alexander? Hope
dude?
hope you're doing well. Okay, so we are going to take it a little bit further into the jungle. So I felt like that this is, I wouldn't say necessarily like the best starting point per se. It's great once you're getting a little bit further in. And I think that there's a couple other films, including the next one that we're going to discuss, that I feel like is probably a little bit, I don't want to say easier to get into, but um, it's definitely a film that I feel like is probably towards the top as far as more accessibility, and that is none other than 1980s Eaten Alive,
Oh boy.
another Lenzi film. Hell yeah.
I make sure there's no nudity on here. I don't think
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Listen, you know
this one's better.
what?
This is better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
Well,
is
what?
that the new 4? Is that the 4K?
Yeah. Yep.
Man,
Yep.
let's get into it.
Yeah, well, it doesn't, I wouldn't say it gets any easier. We're getting further into the jungle and these are parts unknown. So this
This is
film for
8
those
years later for him, right?
yes, so we are, let me see. Yes. Yep, 8 years later. And with this one, so we are deep in the heart of the Amazon. We have a group of outsiders that venture into a world they barely understand, seeking adventure but finding only terror. So they captured by a remote tribe, they are subjected to horrifying rituals, forced to confront the full brutality of a society that views them as prey. The jungle itself becomes a relentless, suffocating presence, teeming with hidden dangers, treacherous terrain, and deadly creatures. As the explorers struggle to survive, every decision carries life or death consequences, and fear permeates every moment. Eaten Alive is an unflinching journey into human savagery and primal horror, where the line between hunter and hunted is blurred and survival is a brutal, bloody gamble. Um, like I said, this is one that I had gotten into as I was beginning to explore cannibal films past Cannibal Holocaust.
God bless Seven Video. Dude,
Alexander
I thought
asked,
you were gonna
"Is
do
this
this
one
one
brutal?"
last. If I'm being real,
What's
I,
that?
I thought you were gonna hit this one last. So this
We're
one,
we're taking we're taking unexpected turns in this.
dude, we're lost.
Yeah, listen, it's as unpredictable as the jungle itself. There's animals out there, reptiles. You never know.
Banned in 38 countries.
Yeah. Yep. Alexander's asking, "Is this one brutal?" Josh,
Oh
how would
my
you sum this up?
god. So this one, this is the worst one, I think, as far as the ones we're gonna talk about. I've watched this movie twice, and I haven't upgraded the 4K because I rewatched it probably like 6 months ago because I was kind of just when you're on a cannibal kick, sometimes you just go right into the jungle for a few video. You just kind of get into it. But
It's not a place I like to revisit all that often, if I'm
this one
being
is
honest.
hard.
Mhm.
This one is fucking brutal. To answer that question,
Is this the worst for you?
it might be.
Okay.
It gives
I
me
would
like thinking about it gives me anxiety a little bit because I wasn't expecting it. Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
that's what it's all about, man. We're in the horror section. This is like the forbidden
We're in
section.
the
So
we're in the trust tree of the horror
I
section. This one just has no chill to it. There's no comedy really. It's just like right off the bat, you start with problems and you just get right it
it
stresses me out.
it doesn't get any better though. That's the problem with
No.
it.
It just
Uh
ratchets. Fuck, man. This is a big one.
well, speaking of someone else that's coming along with us on this journey, we got GC. What is up, man? What is
Buckle up,
up?
buddy. Let's
Yeah,
do it.
buckle up is right. And he said, everyone make sure to go and subscribe to these awesome guys. Likewise, go check out Face the Movies. He's doing incredible things. He's one of my co-hosts. We actually do Cinema Rewind every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So go check that out. We actually have just a shameless plug.
Get it.
Well, we have Nightmare on Elm Street coming up on Tuesday, and we're having Christian on with from Planet CHH. So we're super pumped for that. So I hope you guys can all tune in and enjoy that. But yeah, thank you so much, man. All right. So where do we even start with this one? So I was going to start off, I guess, by asking you, how do you feel like Eaten Alive compares to other cannibal or Italian cannibal films of the late 70s, early 80s, like Cannibal Holocaust or Cannibal Ferox?
So I love those other two movies you just said. Like I'll die on a hill for those movies. I'll argue the points. I don't know what the hell happened to Lenzi after Man from Deep River. Like something bad. Like either he had something to prove with this one, but I would imagine if you're making multiple of these kind of films, and he had done what else? He did Nightmare City and obviously Cannibal Ferox later, but this
Oh,
one,
he's done so. I mean, really, let's go back. Let's take a look. So we got Cannibal Ferox, Eaten Alive. He did Ghost House, Hitcher in the Dark,
ton of good ones, dude.
Orgasmo. Let's see. He did Spasmo. So he definitely dabbled in some giallo films, and that's why I love the crossover appeal of him as a director. Like he was very well versed, and I feel like he is a director that I don't feel gets the credit that he deserves. Um, with the amount of crossover that he was doing at that time, and just I don't know how important he was for both subgenres.
Nightmare Beach, he's got a ton of good movies, like
Yep,
just a ton.
yep,
Anytime Severn puts out a sale, you're gonna almost always get a Lenzi movie. Like his movies are awesome.
yeah. He definitely a very talented director. Now, okay, we were talking about this earlier. You said this one wasn't a movie that you saw at your local video store, but if you did stumble across this shocking box art, would you feel like the cover would be scarier than the movie itself?
So I've got 3 copies of this movie. I've got the one that has kind of like there's a DVD that has this one,
Hmm.
which is unpleasant. Then you've got the other one, which is kind of the zoomed out. It looks like there is a little bit of partial nudity. And then I forget what the other one has, but if I would have seen this one, I probably would not have wanted to like it looks mean as shit. And there's also another movie from Toby Hooper called Eaten Alive that is
I
amazing. And so when I bought Eaten Alive on
shout
DVD from
shout out to
eBay,
Toby
I bought the
Hooper.
wrong one.
I the funny thing is I remember when someone very early on when I was getting into horror and they were recommending checking out this movie, I did actually watch the wrong Eaten Alive. So
I've
yes,
done
you
that.
please guys go double check to make sure you're watching the right movie. Both are very good films, but I would say just know what you're getting yourself into with this one over the other.
And both of them have alternate title posters too.
Yep.
So there's one that's on DVD that kind of looks like this guy, and Eaten Alive there's the one with the alligator. There's another one, the alternate poster, which is the one I thought I was buying on Whatnot, which was like an auction site.
Mhm.
So I bought that on accident, so now I have multiple copies of this.
It's okay, man.
Yeah.
And then we've got a special request here from GC.
Oh dude, hit me up. Absolutely.
Yeah, let's
I don't
make
know
it
how to
happen.
chat back on my end, but I seen it come through and I was like,
Don't worry, we've got ways to get in touch with GC.
yeah.
Back alley
Be
methods.
honored.
Okay, so do you feel like the jungle setting for this film in isolation intensified the horror that we see in this film?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I would say that it's like an overarching theme in a lot of these films because they're like off the radar, and like we said, there's no getting help.
And
You know?
they're set up almost kind of like a giallo style where New York City's popular in a lot of these movies where we're leaving a big city to go to somewhere, and it's the juxtaposition of the huge city to like primitive nothingness and just
Yep.
streams and rivers and green infernos, and it's just
I see
Amazon
what you did
rainforest.
there.
Yeah.
Now, would you say these cannibal films were in the same category? Like, let's just say, had a dangerous reputation as slashers and video nasties, like I Spit on Your Grave or maybe The Driller Killer.
Um, yeah, I mean, I can see how they're similar. These are way worse. I mean, I would watch I Spit on Your Grave or Driller Killer all day
Yeah,
over Eaten Alive all day.
yeah, I agree with you.
This movie fucking sucks. It sucks to get through.
It's worth okay. I would say that it's not a film that I would just say is going to be like a casual viewing. This
No.
is something that you have to be in the right mindset for. I feel like a lot of these films are all in the same vein when it comes to that. Now, do you feel like this film succeeds in building suspense, or does it rely mostly on shock value?
I mean, it starts pretty quick. So the first 10 minutes, when you're kind of like setting up the story, how we're going to get to the jungle,
Mhm.
you got a little bit of suspense, and you got stakes somewhat. And then it just quickly ratchets up to where, yeah, it becomes overwhelming real quick. The first half an hour, if I remember right.
Yeah, it's
Sure.
yeah. I really do, like I said, this is probably the top 3 out of, like, the cannibal films, and I wouldn't say there's a ton of them, but this is arguably probably a top 3 film. That doesn't mean that it's any easier to get through. Um,
No,
it's
it's
just
great. When I say it fucking sucks, like I love the movie, but
Mhm,
it takes a piece of you when you watch it. You
for
feel
sure,
bad, like worse
especially
than
after
the other ones for sure.
watching 6, like, give or take, like, back to back.
Yeah.
Now, how do you feel like this film depicts, like, in a way that the extreme religion through the cult storyline, did you find that storyline interesting, or the angle that they decided to go with? Because cults are kind of like in some of these, they do appear in some capacity.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was interesting. I like that. Um, there's almost a little bit of Jonestown massacre kind of cult
Hmm.
stuff to it that kind of throws you off the scent of what's actually going to happen.
For
So yeah,
sure.
I thought that was done really well. Yeah.
And do you feel like the mystique of movies like Eaten Alive, for example, is tied more to the rental store experience than the films themselves?
I wish that I was older and I knew, because I didn't see this one that much. So I would imagine that, you know, this one I think is the first one to kind of utilize that kind of cannibal holocaust blood drip and
Hmm.
the dual tone font. So I mean, it looks intimidating just from that.
Absolutely.
Um,
Now, why do
grabs.
you why would you say that in you could, I guess, apply this to any of the films that we're discussing tonight, but why do you feel like cannibal and exploitation films thrive more so on VHS in ways they couldn't in theaters?
Maybe I don't know. That's a great question. I don't Back in the day, kind of dating myself here, but everybody had a camcorder that you could just keep on your shoulder. So
Hmm.
maybe in a way that guerrilla style filmmaking, I mean, at least to me, when you have a VHS, it feels like anybody could have made this. This could be real. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah,
So, I mean, I'm not throwing that out as maybe a possibility, but VHS, it's more effective because everybody had access to it and everybody could just make their own, you don't know what's real. People had stuff that was filmed from crimes and it shows up on Faces of Death and you're just like that kind of stuff with the Mondo, it's hard to know
almost
with VHS.
voyeuristic or the
Yeah,
exploitative,
that's the word I was looking for.
yeah, yeah, the exploitative angle to it. I mean, it's definitely, I mean, there's a lot of those films that I feel like they're borderline snuff films
Yeah,
in a
for
way.
sure.
Uh, Now, which scene do you think delivers the strongest gut punch in this movie?
Oh
Is
my
there
god. There's a lot of them. Fucking
Listen, this is the reason I brought you on here,
I
man.
know.
This is not a conversation that most of the time people are willing to have.
There's an SV that happens in this film that I forget about until I
Mhm.
watch it again, and they lure you into it with animal stuff before, and then I don't know. It almost feels like they're trying to worship that in this film more, like it's more mean spirited, like the tribes themselves. Like it's not. I feel like there's real danger to this movie, and so there's
Yeah,
a couple of violent scenes towards women in here that just, man, you just feel horrible watching them. So there's
yeah,
multiple.
and there's that's unfortunately one of the tropes I feel like we see more often than not in these films is that there's kind of the extreme violence, the extreme assaults, things like that. The extreme animal attacks. It's again, it just everything in the jungle, like it's like no holding back. Um,
And sometimes they do let the female become empowered and have a way out. Like
mhm.
you'll see that even Lindsay's movies, as we get into these, you do get like the heroine, the kind of final girl trope a little bit more, but this one struggles with that compared to other ones. Like there's not a lot of safety in this film. So
No. I would extend that to every one of these movies. I don't feel like anyone's safe. As soon as they land in the jungle, like everything's, no holding back, nothing. And would you say the terror in Eaten Alive, is it more psychological? So maybe like, I guess, for example, you could use the cult in a way, or do you feel like visceral, maybe just the cannibalism that takes place in this film?
I do think that this one, we're gonna talk a lot about blood and guts and gore with these movies, but this one does feel more realistic than definitely Man from Deep River and some of the other ones we're going to talk about. Like the color of the blood seems a little bit darker. It just feels like we spend more time with intestines and people eating and passing people around compared to some of the other ones.
For
So
sure.
I
For
definitely
sure.
think it's the gore for some people. That's one of the big quotes on the back is you're just like, okay, it's all about the gore for Eaten Alive, which I love, but
Yeah,
it's not for everybody.
this is I watched this and Cannibal Ferox back to back. So I was like afterwards, I was ready for just a shower. It was
Oh
just
yeah.
much needed by that
Family
point.
Guy, something
Yeah,
easy.
just something to get my mind off of this. Um, Speaking of trying to get my mind off another film, which I don't know if I would say that this is necessarily as bad as Eaten Alive, but I think it's definitely an important film nonetheless, and it's by a director that had a very prominent film that came out a little bit later on. But we got The Last Cannibal World, aka Jungle Holocaust.
Oh, we're moving on.
We're
Nice.
moving on.
Man, Eaten Alive, that one gets me, dude. Of all the movies.
Yeah.
Um,
I love that cover too.
yeah, this cover's sick. No
Uh
nudity, we're good to go.
yeah. Okay, so Jungle Holocaust, what's your relationship with this movie?
I fucking love it. I was gonna, we're watching these back to back. We're kind of trying to get into the spirit. We're rehashing, refreshing of
Yeah.
how we feel about them. And I remember just thinking, like, this one kind of feels like bigger budget for sure, because when you go from some of those other ones, like Diodato was a really good filmmaker for
Oh yeah.
sure. So you get a little more pomp and circumstance. You get crazy shots. You get good camera work. This could have a little Spielberg touch to it. Um, this feels like a real action adventure film as much as it is a cannibal film.
That's
I
what I was
love
gonna
it.
that's what I was gonna say. I mean, did you notice on rewatch just how much this film sets up for what he was gonna ultimately end up doing with Cannibal Holocaust?
That perspective is pretty interesting to think about when you're rewatching it. It's like he was trying something. Even that opening title card where he talks
Mhm.
about everything is true, what you're going to see here, he sets the movie up to be, you know, similar to Cannibal Holocaust. And obviously he went on, I think he surpasses it, but I think that in the cannibal genre, like one of the most fun ones you can watch, there's still some stuff that's going to be upsetting. Jungle Holocaust Cannibal World it's excellent.
Yeah. There was a lot to love about this movie. This was one that I didn't find till a little bit later. It reminds me of, you know, how there's almost like a connection between New Nightmare and Scream, how New Nightmare was like the prototype
The
to.
meta,
Yeah,
yeah,
yep.
yeah, yeah.
That's what this reminds me of. Like Last Cannibal World, aka Jungle Holocaust, was a precursor to Cannibal Holocaust. A lot of similar framework.
Yeah, I totally see that.
Now, for
And
those of you, oh, go ahead.
keep- I was just thinking this one's almost like a buddy, not like buddy cop, obviously, but it's more of a survival thriller in some spots where you have a friend in the film. You have some comedy in the beginning. You get to share a drink with somebody. It's not just like straight into the action. So
Mm,
the ending, you know, it's anyway. We'll keep going. But
yeah. Alexander has a quick question. So totally unrelated, but have you guys seen the film Chained by Jennifer Lynch? It was superbly acted and starring Vincent D'Onofrio and Gina Phillips, Trish from Jeepers Creepers. Have you seen that film?
let me.
I don't think I've seen.
I don't think I've seen that.
No. I'll add that to my watch list. Good looking
Yeah,
out,
dude.
Alexander. All right, so let's get into it. So, Jungle Holocaust. Deep in the uncharted Amazon, a documentary crew ventures into a deadly jungle to capture the unknown, only to find themselves ensnared by its merciless inhabitants. Trapped in a world of savage rituals, brutal violence, and unrelenting danger, the crew must confront the terrifying reality that the jungle itself is as lethal as its people. Every river, cliff, and shadow path hides a new threat, and survival demands cunning, courage, and sheer luck. Jungle Holocaust is a relentless plunge into fear and chaos, exposing the thin line between civilization and savagery, where every choice could be your last and every encounter a step closer to horror. And this is one that, do you find yourself revisiting this one as often as maybe some of the other ones that we've talked about?
Um, so I didn't own this on physical until Valori Video. Shout out Valori Video. He's got a little code down there. Check it out.
Oh, yeah.
It was super cool that Tony could get it to me. So I'd only seen it maybe 2 or 3 times, like in the I don't know, maybe 10 years ago.
Okay.
So I think that if you're going to get into cannibal films, or you just want to dip your toe in the water and see what the fuss is about, Jungle Holocaust is a great way to get started. Um, I think that since I bought this, like of all the ones we watched, there's 3 of the 6 that I think should be on repeat. Like they're that good. They should
Mhm.
be. Every horror fan should have it. Jungle Holocaust is probably one of those movies.
Especially with, Halloween's right around the corner. And I don't think most people would, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't traditionally think of these movies as ones that get you in the Halloween spirit, and it felt like kind of a brutal beatdown to get us ready to appreciate maybe some of the more lighthearted
Yeah, dude.
films, you know? Um, Now we talked about this, and this wasn't one that we really saw in the video store like that, but if we did, would this have been a must grab for a late night horror rental or more of a curiosity pick for you?
Well, I think it depends on the person. Like I love survival movies. Like I love action adventure survival especially.
Mhm,
So I think just having the term jungle in there, I'd be interested in picking it up.
for
Um,
sure.
Last Cannibal World is also interesting in another, another way, but it's kind of, and I guess there's multiple covers on it. So kind of depends on which cover you're seeing. But the jungle for me would be like, I want to see what that's about.
Yeah, it's a pretty gnarly movie. Um, Now did you feel like the reputation for taboo content like cannibalism, rituals, extreme violence make it more appealing to rent?
Yes.
Listen, this is after dark. Everyone's in a safe zone here. These are like the forbidden rentals that
Yeah.
you can't be scared to check out at least once. Now, which scene in the film generates the most fear? Was it some of the cannibal attacks, the human conflicts that we had, or just like the natural threats that occurred in the jungle?
I'm gonna go ahead and say that there's a couple of scenes in this film. First of all, the cave scenes and the way that they're lit and all of the different, cannibals kind of hanging out. When he's first getting stripped down and he's not sure why he's getting stripped down, and then they think that he can fly because he came in on the plane, right? When he goes down to that crevice and there's that crazy bird and the eagle, the problem is he's like, we keep zooming in on him. He's fully nude. So you're like, "Oh, he's hungry. He's got to get out of there. Like he can't fly, obviously." So I just
Are
felt
you
like,
sure?
man, I felt super uncomfortable for him. Like when that, there's a ton of scenes in this film that are super uncomfortable, but that one was intense. I was just like, I just need something to cover me up while I try to wrestle this raw food from this bird that's biting me constantly.
Hold on, just give me 1 second. Hold on.
How's everybody's Saturday going? Welcome, welcome. Yeah, if you haven't seen Jungle Holocaust, man, check it out. Rocks. Adding that chain film to my watch list here. Oh, it's free on Prime. What's up, John Doe Juggalo? I wish I could respond back to people with the chat, but I'll still talk to you. Hopefully you're having a great evening. Welcome in. Stephen will be back in just a minute. We've already covered, if you're just joining us, we've covered Eaten Alive, which is probably the gnarliest cannibal film for me personally. I don't know what it is about that movie. Probably the lack of comedy, and there's just no safe moments. We're currently talking Jungle Holocaust, and we started with The Man from Deep River. So we got three banger titles. So hang tight. I got to check some college football scores while we're all here. I know Steven's Michigan State starting at 8 o'clock. That's probably why he left. He had to just kidding.
I heard it all. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so let's see. Getting back to the chat. What's up, Jeff? Thanks for
What
coming
a
through, hanging out with us. All right, so let's see. So, okay, with this film, how did the screams, jungle sounds, and moments of silence contribute to the terror?
well, you definitely notice it from the when they first land um into the jungle there. Everything's super quiet. Then all of a sudden they kind of like start creeping up on the jungle and they find some of their maybe people that were butchered or whatever. And all of a sudden the jungle kind of comes alive. And that's something I was going to say about the previous movie too. Is Diodato does a really good job with the soundtracks that he chooses for his cannibal films. So yeah,
Absolutely.
this has a lot more monkeys and a lot when you're going into the water. It's like super vibrant sounding. So it's lush.
Especially when you start checking some of these films out in 4K, Blu-ray. I mean, it definitely
Oh,
goes
dude.
a long way to really enhance the experience that you have with these films.
Can I just
Now,
ask you, when you watch these,
yeah,
do you watch them with dubbing, like where it's going to be English over the Italian? Do you watch Italian and read the subtitles? I'm pretty sure they give you subtitles no matter what, unless
I like to. Depends on the movie. I mean, I genuinely like to watch them Italian.
same.
Yeah, just because I feel like it forces me to really be dialed into the movie a little bit more.
Agreed. Yeah, for sure.
Now it depends because then you also get giallo films, some Italian horror films outside of the cannibal subgenre where I feel like, the dubbing is part of the charm that comes with it. So it depends on the movie. For this, if it has the Italian option and English subtitles, I don't mind watching it like that.
Yeah, that's usually how I do it. I was just looking for what the audio was on the back, and I was like, oh yeah, it does have both. What does Steven watch it as?
Listen, great minds think alike, or
Right.
depraved ones. um, Now, how does the unpredictability of who will survive or die keep viewers on edge?
Well, from the beginning of this film, you're set up with the characters kind of going in it to rescue people and trying to find some colleagues or whatever. And you, for a lot of this movie, you feel like dude's on his own. There's a female character in this film, and then it kind of wraps up at the end where it turns out it wasn't that way. So yeah, it's kind of cool to have a cannibal traveling buddy, because usually people get abducted pretty quick and then they're just kind of on their own.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. Do you feel like the death sequences feel justified by the story, or are they purely designed for shock?
Well, there's something about this movie, where it does kind of feel like the director gives them a little bit more safety, if I can say that, where
Mhm.
they see the tribes, they see them eating. We figure they're friends as the audience, and then all of a sudden they're able to just go a few steps down and build a raft, which looks really loud with the machetes, and they're twined together, and then they're just really loud in the water. So, um, I kind of feel like this one, when the death does come later, it does feel justified. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And does the film make the audience feel trapped alongside the characters, and how is that achieved?
Well, you get a lot of snakes in this film. You get a lot of things just squeezing the life out of creatures. The animal stuff in this film definitely helps you feel like isolated and trapped. And all they want to do is get back to that main drag where the helicopter was, or the plane. Sorry.
Mhm.
Um, it feels like it's just a little ways away. The whole movie, you're just like stuck on this path trying to get there. Then
I
you're in a
swear.
cave, dude. It feels like it's like a half a mile distance, but you're just stuck. It's thick.
In a lot of ways, I mean, you see certain sequences where you have like a python that's squeezing an animal, or someone is, or like not someone, like some animal is just being attacked by alligators, or I guess down there crocodiles, or whatever the case is. And in a
Mm.
lot of ways it feels like kind of a representation of what the audience is going through. I mean, we're being subjected to like how much can you really withstand watching these movies, right?
And with this one, did you feel like, for me, it almost feels like the animals that they're going to show are like voyeurs as well. Like you'll have a bat watching a snake trying to eat an eagle, or it feels like the other animals are trying to like signal to the audience like that there's no way out, dude. Like they're going to eat you like that.
Yeah.
Something I picked up on was all the shots of the animals' eyes and how they're like backing away from, the apex predators of the Amazon. It's
It's
trip.
almost like the fly on the wall. that you have, but except
Mhm.
in this case, it's taking place to something so horrific. Nobody likes to see that type of stuff obviously happen. Um, Now for Jungle Holocaust, do you feel like it's more effective as a psychological horror film, leaning maybe more into the gore or survival horror?
I man, probably survival horror because it does have a lot of the main character trying to get out of situations, and they're I don't wanna say friendly is the right term, how they treat him a little bit, but
Mhm.
he's not just mutilated right away, he's, like, given opportunities, so I I felt like he was gonna get away, so it kinda adds to the survival horror.
Yeah, absolutely. And lastly, for this one, how would double feature promotions or grindhouse style rentals have shaped your anticipation for the film before seeing it?
Double features, like, with Cannibal Holocaust?
Yeah, like how it is. I mean, if you have like maybe the perfect double feature, I guess, if they were advertising it as such, whether it was maybe at the movies, drive-in, or the
Yeah.
grindhouse style, maybe like let's just say like the movie poster at your local video store. Would that
Yeah.
have piqued your interest?
Oh, yeah. I think this cover, dude, it's pretty intense, like, you wanna know
Yeah,
what's going on. You see
so
that on the
creepy.
billing? Dude, I wanna check it out.
Which out of the films that we talked about, is there a poster to you that stands out distinctly in your mind?
Well, Cannibal Holocaust is tattooed in a lot of people's brains because especially the woman on the spike. I think that is
Yep.
so effective. The imagery there is iconic. I think Cannibal Ferox for me is probably the one that I always think about with that machete and she's just like laid back. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
there I will always stand by this that I feel like poster art is a lost art. There's just not enough love and attention to the detail of like really kind of shaping uh what this movie could be about, piquing someone's interest. I mean, a lot of those movie posters from the 70s, 80s, even 90s are just so iconic that you almost think of those kind of in tandem with the movie itself.
Yeah,
Um,
it grabs your attention for sure.
Now, speaking of a movie that can grab your attention, I figured now was a good time to talk about the 78 film from Sergio Martino, and that is Slave of the Cannibal God,
Okay,
aka the
okay.
Mountain of the Cannibal God. Hell yeah.
What what do you think about this movie? What's your take?
It's okay. I think that all six of these films that we're discussing tonight are all worth watching. I don't feel like that this is my favorite out of the bunch, and that's coming from someone that likes Sergio Martino's films.
Same. Yeah, I it feels like, if Jungle Holocaust is very, very accessible from like an action adventure, this one feels maybe even a little safer than that.
Mhm.
I don't know if it because it has more well-known, actors and actresses in it, but yeah, it's not my favorite. I do enjoy it, but I don't come back to it a lot.
No. And again, I don't want to discourage anyone from checking this out. This is definitely, regardless, still a very, very, important movie to check out. And for those of you guys who haven't had a chance to see this movie yet, just so you guys kind of have an idea of what it's all about. So, in the remote jungles of South America, an expedition of scientists and adventurers search for a missing colleague, only to stumble into a world of unspeakable horror. As they penetrate deeper into the dense, oppressive wilderness, they encounter a hidden tribe whose rituals are both terrifying and merciless. The jungle itself is a constant threat, a labyrinth of rivers, cliffs, and unseen predators, amplifying every sense of fear and dread. Each step toward or forward brings deadly traps, brutal encounters, and moral challenges as explorers confront both the tribe's savage customs and the darkness within themselves. Slave of the Cannibal God immerses viewers into a relentless journey of survival, terror, and shocking violence where the line between predator and prey is horrifyingly blurred. Um, Now, Would you feel like this is okay? So, would horror fans have been drawn to this tape if you saw it at your video store, maybe purely for the promise of shocking cannibal rituals and jungle violence?
Yeah, I mean, even just looking at the poster, it kind of feels like almost like Barbarella. Like you get a vibe that it's going to be, female centric, and there's going to be she like she's going to be a big deal.
Hmm.
What was the last part of the question? Hopefully,
Oh, so just that it would be purely for the promise of shocking cannibal rituals and jungle violence.
I don't know if I'd say that about this one. This one feels. Don't get me wrong. There's moments in it, and I would say you should still watch it if you haven't seen it. There's great releases now that probably help, because I was watching it on DVD last night.
Hmm.
It's a little harder to get through for sure, but I don't know if I would. Yeah, I don't know if I would. Not as much as the other ones, anyway.
And then, which scenes create the most tension? The encounters with the cannibals, natural threats, or the psychological stress of the expedition?
Well, I don't really like the dude with the hair lip. He was driving me nuts. Like he was getting on my goddamn nerves the whole time. So
Yeah,
he was. Is this the one that has the crocodile scene in the cave?
I believe so. Yeah.
That scene,
They have some run-ins with anacondas, alligators, and tarantulas.
yeah, whether it's an alligator or crocodile, the tarantulas, it's weird. So I'm watching this last night, just kind of trying to get through the last one on my list, and that could be part of the problem too, right? It was the last one I watched, but when
You're
that alligator
beat down, worn down by the
wore
jungles of
down,
the Amazon jungles.
maybe it was like, okay, I can handle the tarantula getting smashed, but when they sacrificed that alligator on film, it just
What?
like I just could not handle. I was like, I want to fast forward this. I don't like this.
I'm not a fan.
I did not like that at all. Like it made me sick. I was so upset with it. So
I just and listen, for the sake of film, I can I try to understand the message that they're trying to get across, but then there's other times where I'm thinking to myself, why did they feel the need to go all the way with this? I mean, I wouldn't I mean, if I'm the director, I don't know how comfortable I would feel filming this.
well, and there's live snake eatings in this one. So if you thought Indiana Jones Temple of Doom was intense with the snakes, where they slice open and it's like snake surprise, this one will turn your stomach. There's so many green snakes just being eaten and skinned. And obviously they
Not a
did it
fan.
for the movie. And maybe that's the thing is we can talk about, whether it's for the movie or not, but just fucking yeah, the alligator just pissed me off. I was just like, God, made me upset.
Sometimes I feel that there were which movie is it where they sorry guys, I know that this is probably taking a little bit too far with the details, but I know that there's one scene in one of these films and I'm getting them all mixed up where they like basically skin like an alligator. Is that this one?
It's this one.
Oh,
I
not a
yeah,
fan.
it'd be one thing because they start with the head. I don't want to totally be super graphic with it, but they just keep going, and it's like a 3-minute scene. It's like all the way down, and then you see it kind of spit roasted. Um, I think it was this one. I don't think it's Jungle Holocaust. I can't remember. When you watch so many of them, like you're just used to anacondas and things.
It's not good, guys.
It's not good.
All right. And then I'm just going to the chat real quick. We got Zoomography joining us. What's up, Zoomography?
What up, dude?
Hope you're doing well. Hope you're surviving this movie conversation we're having right now.
We're in the weeds now.
Yeah, we are way out there. Now, how effective are the depictions of the cannibal rituals? Did you feel that they were frightening, shocking, or more exploitative?
Well, this one almost has like foreshadowing, right? Where they show the mask and she's got that little charm thing that she's kind of carrying around.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I would say like maybe the purpose is supposed to be exploitative, but I didn't really feel that way. It just felt like almost like destiny. She's got to get there. It was like I don't know.
Yeah, it's I think that I would say this film would be maybe more exploitative. I don't think that any of the scene. I mean, we talked about the one scene that's very uncomfortable, but for the for the most part, I think it's kind of like definitely has like a little bit more sleaze to it. Feels very exploitative, like almost voyeuristic.
Yeah.
And then, would you say the threat of cannibals or the explorer's own greed and violence, I guess, is scarier?
Well, I'm going with the hair lip dude. I think that in a way,
You're just like, fuck him.
fuck him. These people are asking for it, right? So, um, those people are already going to be there. The tribes of people. So, I just felt like this one, yeah,
It's brutal.
it's brutal. It's not as brutal as some of the other ones, but it's uncomfortable.
And then, would you say films like this, maybe more so with this one, do you feel like they're exciting to rent the mainstream horror just because of the taboo content?
Yeah, I think that once you get into one cannibal movie, it seems like you just if you like it, you're definitely going to rent more of them. So, I don't have any other options of this except for the DVD, but I would think that, seeing that in the store, it feels like I said, female empowerment. It feels like it's kind of like this iconic character, and she's a well-known actress. So,
Mhm.
it probably helps as far as people wanting to watch it.
Ursula Andress.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and would you have been tempted to grab it based solely on the box art or taglines, even without knowing the story? For like a
Well,
first watch.
yeah, I mean, 78, I don't know. If it had all those uncut and uncensored stuff on it, if it has those little stickers on it, I'd definitely be interested for sure.
This one is I don't know if this would, I mean, even if I saw this, I just never really heard that much about it where I would have been like enticed to go out of my way for it. It was always eaten alive, make them die slowly, and Cannibal Holocaust were the ones I just always heard in my circles that were just like some of the gnarliest movies when it came to that type of thing.
For sure. I mean, I think that the new Severin edition with the snake like wrapped around, I think that poster art, like we talked about, it's iconic. Like I would buy it just for that image, like that. It is striking, but I think the actual movie inside is a little bit lackluster and kind of slow even.
I feel like I'm not I'm not bashing on this movie by any means. I just think that what the cover art promises, I don't feel like the film quite delivers. Maybe I had my expectations too high.
Well, when
You
you're
know,
used to other ones, I mean, some other ones are done so well that, and there's great uh, Sergio Martino.
Martino films.
There's so many good Torso. You can just go on and on with his films, but this one is
Oh,
just a little lackluster for me. I still think people will probably like it if they're into cannibal movies, but yeah, no shade.
and no, 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 no. And does the climax resolve the horror set? Like, were you satisfied with the climax of the film, or did you feel like unsettled?
I was just like, when they're in the water and they're kind of like they got the masks on. The masks in this movie are super effective. I almost say you could watch it just for the masks alone because
Hmm.
that's almost kind of like a slasher element in this film. Super super fun, and then all of a sudden they're just in the water. She's free, right? I don't know how they got out of that situation before in the caves. And can we talk about the little people in this? Like, there's weird stuff in this movie. Like,
It's a different level of weird
it's
compared
different,
compared to
man.
compared to like what we're so accustomed to in these films.
And there's group pleasuring things going on, right? Like, that's weird. Where you're just like, what in the
I don't know what to feel sometimes when we're watching these movies. Like,
same?
you're giving me a like a mixed bag of like violence, and then you can it's very jarring like when it starts going to like what you're referring to, and I don't know. It's definitely experience. Uh,
Well, and
uh,
they make him eat like the lizards that are like half dead, and like they're just passing things around. You're just like, what is going on?
yeah,
Not even like it's that shocking. It's just, yeah, you're just pummeled in
you're
all
just trying
different
to follow
directions.
like what's exactly happening.
Yeah.
Now, do you feel like the jungle itself? acts as a kind of monster, almost like whether it's dangerous, mysterious, oppressive in a way.
Not as much as other films
Hmm.
do it. They do it better. This one, it kind of feels like you're going on vacation into the jungle, right? There's a lot more
It's not a
places
vacation I
for
want
the
to go on.
yeah, like she has a lot more opportunities to take care of herself. It's like the other ones you're just like dropped in and you're raw and you're just running from people. This one takes its time. She's got guns. She's got
Yeah,
she got hair lip, dude.
your favorite.
My favorite, dude.
And lastly, are the cannibal attacks more terrifying because of their unpredictability or the brutality of the violence?
When that little fella comes after, like I'm like, what the hell is going on here now? Like
Hmm.
we're all sitting around, we're eating snakes raw, and then chick's like just painted, right? She's stripped nude, she's tied to the back, and then you got this little fella just coming up and just kind of like half stabbing the other dude. Just I was just like, come on, like what's going on here? I was just having a hard time following it.
Yeah, it's like I said, I feel like this film is definitely worth watching. It definitely, you can pay your respects to what it establishes, but I feel like that there's other films that maybe are a little bit more efficient in how they stick the landing.
And if you think of it like this one has a Bond villain. This is a James Bond villain in a cannibal movie.
Hmm.
So it's more mainstream. I know people that love it. It's just compared to the other ones we've talked about, it's just a little bit lower. And it's just got a lot more kind of WTF moments at the end where you're like, what?
Well, come on, man.
Less blood too. There's the blood is it's it's different.
You can't talk about WTF without talking about Cannibal Ferox,
Yeah.
aka Make Them Die Slowly. Hell yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Now we just need that
This is the
4K.
palate cleanser. Okay. This is
Is
gonna
it?
help. Yep.
Is it? I don't
It is.
know.
Oh, I
Well,
still have my little stickies on there, so I can show the yeah.
look at you, prepared for
I was ready.
making sure like everyone out there is not
We
getting
want to
hit
get
with
the
a little bit
views,
more than
right?
they signed up for. So, Cannibal Ferox, this is another Lenzi film, and obviously he is a very very influential figure when it came to these type of films. And with Cannibal Ferox, a daring expedition into the Amazon jungle quickly turns into a nightmarish struggle for survival when a group of outsiders encounters a remote tribe with deadly customs. Isolated from civilization, they are subjected to brutal rituals, savage attacks, and the merciless hazards of the jungle itself. Fear and tension escalate with every step as the line between hunter and hunted blurs and survival becomes a bloody, desperate gamble. Cannibal Ferox plunges viewers into unflinching, visceral horror, exploring human savagery, the terror of the unknown, and the horrifying consequences of venturing too far into forbidden territory. Um, so we're gonna go over it at the end, but I think we would both have to agree this is definitely up there for us, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give away all my answers right away, but we've been going for an hour and 19 minutes, guys. So if you're gonna watch a cannibal movie and see if you like the genre, Cannibal Ferox is the one you should watch.
Yes, I agree 100%. Now, do you feel like with this film, does knowing the film's notorious reputation change the way you experience its horror?
I don't think so. Um, I almost, you know, it's complicated, but all of these movies kind of are, you know. So
Mhm.
I almost feel like this is kind of like the party movie in the cannibal genre. It's got a
Yeah?
great sound. It just kind of does. It just feels like this one is fast paced. It's got amazing fucking music, and when it decides to get going, it's like the people get their comeuppance. Like there's bad characters that get what's coming to them. This one is, it's still definitely shocking, but I come back to this one as much as Cannibal Holocaust. This is like my go-to. Check this thing out. Tell me what you think about it, and then if you like this, maybe we can like recommend some other stuff like Eaten Alive. But
Okay. So before we get further into this, do you feel like that this film compared to the others, maybe outside of, let's say, Eaten Alive, do you feel like that this is one of the more mean-spirited ones?
It's got moments for sure.
Feels
It's
very
got it.
depraved.
Yeah, there's shocking content for sure. Definitely compared to Mountain of the Cannibal God, this is way worse. Um, even Jungle Holocaust, I'd say way worse. But it, I don't know. I don't know if it's the way that it's filmed and this release just looks so good. It feels like a modern cannibal film in a way. It's 83, so it's on the tail end of it, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Now, for Cannibal Ferox, if you were browsing the horror section, what about the box art would make you grab this tape immediately?
the female.
I knew it. I knew it.
Sorry.
No, it's definitely part of the charm to this film. I think it definitely draws in the viewer to this one. And would you have been more drawn to the promise of cannibal rituals, gore, or jungle adventure with this film?
Feels like it's more cannibal forward for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And just not only just the female on the front, but a lot of times you've seen make them die slowly. Like if you're on Tubi or you're looking around for this film, a lot of times you get that American make them die slowly version. So I think that title grabs your attention like right away, dude.
Which did you hear first? Was it Cannibal Ferox? Because I believe
Yeah,
I had
Cannibal
heard.
Ferox.
Okay, because I think I had heard Make Them Die Slowly first, and then I was getting like this was early on when I was first discovering these movies. I remember having to backtrack and figure out. I'm like, wait, is this the same film that I'm being recommended?
Yeah.
You know. Now, let's see, which death scenes are the most shocking or memorable, and why?
Well, I think that kind of like Green Inferno in a way, like there's just a real asshole character here that gets what's coming to him in this movie, and I think that scene, the payoff for that scene, because kind of like Cannibal Holocaust, the people that they run into in this movie, they don't seem like they're the problem. It feels like we're being dropped in and we're bringing our own baggage to this village or wherever we're going in Cannibal Ferox. So when that dude dies, I'm all about it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I hated that guy. So
And then let's see. So does the horror come from anticipation or from the explicit depiction of violence for this film?
well, it doesn't, does this one start in America and then cruise down? I'm pretty sure that it does. This isn't the Giallo style. That's Eaten Alive.
Correct.
So I think that by the time it finally gets to the gore in this movie, man, like you're kind of set up. Like you've been feeling the suspense of the film. So it's not just right away like brutal. Like you get like a few scenes in the beginning that are kind of like that, but once it decides to like show you intestines and start putting people up in spikes and like it gets into it once it goes. But
Yeah, and then
it's
okay,
fucking brutal.
so how do you feel like the gore functions in the movie? Is it more like shock, punishment, or narrative consequence?
Well, for the main character that everybody hates in this film, um, consequence for sure.
Yeah.
And he's
And
begging for everything. Like I couldn't. Oh, sorry.
he's just kind of a piece of shit.
He's shit the whole movie.
Yeah.
Fuck this guy.
And are the rituals and cultural practices depicted more horrifying because of their unfamiliarity or their brutality?
I think that if I had seen this first, I would have probably said the first part of that question. Because I'd already seen Cannibal Holocaust, like I was kind of prepared for. I was expecting that with this movie because this is a really, it's kind of the 1-2 punch in the cannibal genre for people that don't know. So I was expecting it to happen, I guess, is my answer.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And then are there moments where the horror is almost unbearable due to realism or graphic detail?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I fucking love this movie.
Yeah,
I
same.
think the gore is spot on. I think that it's, like I said, it's a party movie. I think this one is more fun than Cannibal Holocaust. I think that it's super accessible for people. It just, yeah. I mean, I'm fucked up though. Maybe it's just me.
No, it's all good. It's all good. And then lastly, how do you feel like the film makes the jungle environment feel alive and threatening? Do you think
Well, you
it
definitely get tons of animal stuff kind of setting the way as they're traveling down there. You get snakes and monkeys and different things getting, the life squeezed out of them as per usual in the genre. But I think that is super effective preparing for, like, these kids are out of their element. Like, what are you doing going down there? You need to be respectful, first of all, kind of like Cannibal Holocaust, even
yes.
Green Inferno. So
Yes, I agree. You see this as a reoccurring theme with these films that it's almost like, i- those that we're following in each film, it's almost like they're in unfamiliar territory and yet they're like not respecting their surroundings, not respecting the tribe, and obviously this next film is so iconic for a reason. And this is none other than 1980s Cannibal
oh, look at
Holocaust.
that version. That's a cool one.
Yeah. What you got?
Did that one come with the poster?
For this, I don't believe it did.
I have that one with a poster that I gave to my brother. I've got the 88 films.
Yeah, no poster with this one. Oh, hell yeah. That's a gorgeous 4K, by the way.
Oh, dude, this is a reference quality 4K for people that don't
Yep.
know. And we talked a little bit about the soundtrack from Cannibal Ferox. It's crazy how my energy level just doubled from going from Mountain of the Cannibal God to Cannibal Ferox to, I mean,
Josh has achieved his final form now.
I'm ready, baby.
Yeah, so
Excellent transfer.
all right. So for those of you guys that are still listening, chime in if you are a fan of this movie. For those of you guys who haven't had a chance to check out this film, it is a masterpiece in a lot of ways for so many reasons. And this film revolves around a rescue team that ventures deep into the Amazon to find a missing documentary crew, only to uncover footage of unimaginable horror. Trapped in the jungle, the original filmmakers face brutal rituals, savage cannibals, and the relentless perils of an unforgiving wilderness. The line between civilization and savagery blurs as humans and nature alike become deadly predators, and survival demands every ounce of courage and cunning. Cannibal Holocaust is a harrowing journey into fear, violence, and the unknown, exposing the darkest extremes of human cruelty and primal terror while leaving viewers questioning the very nature of what they've witnessed. I feel like that is the perfect way to sum up like the first time watching this movie. I get so amped up talking about this movie because
Same.
it's so raw and uncomfortable, and I have talked about this before. This was a movie that I was discovering around the same time as films like Faces of Death and Dead Alive. And these are films that, I had to go over to someone else's house to be able to watch them because I guarantee if my parents found out that I'm watching these movies, they're going to shut things down very quickly.
100%.
Um, what is your relationship with this movie? Was this early on when you were getting into maybe video nasties, cannibal films, band films? Like, where does this one fall for you?
Well, that you sum that up perfectly. Um, Let me answer the other part here in just a second.
Yeah.
I think that, and call me crazy, but I think as a horror fan, I have a different level of respect for this film that, you know, if I'm talking to people that love horror and they don't put this in the top 15, top 20 in their favorite horror movies of all time, it's not like I think less or I'm not going to value the other movies that you love, but because people don't like this for certain reasons. But this is in my top 10. It is so good. It
Mm-hmm.
is groundbreaking. It started an entire found footage kind of phenomenon in a way. It's ahead of its time.
Absolutely.
Ask me the first part of the question again. I want to just rant. Sorry.
Um, yeah, I just kind of wanted to know, like, what was your relationship with this? Was this a film that you found early on? Did it take you some
Yeah.
time to dive into it, or?
So, we've talked about this before on your backroom video nasty kind of, thing we did last month, which go check that thing out. Cannibal Holocaust was like forbidden fruit and it was really, really hard to find. So when I finally got my hands on it, I think I was 19, and it took me forever to get a copy of it. And I had to sign a waiver from Pilot Butte Video in Bend, Oregon. I had to pay $75 as a deposit just to take the VHS home. And I was like, what's going on with this movie? How come? He's like, well, because people just steal it. So to replace the
Oh,
film,
no way.
$75. And I was like, all right, well, I'll bring it back. I just live on the other side of the butte here. So I always wanted to see this film. This film has a reputation. This film's got legs. This film has all these things because it's bad fucking ass, man. It's a rite of passage. It's part of horror history. And if you hate it because of the PETA stuff, I totally get it. But that in itself makes this film uncomfortable. It challenges you as the viewer, and it's really everything it's cracked up to be. When you hear the term cannibal holocaust, you get exactly that, but more. You get, I mean, let's get
This
into
movie
it,
has it all.
dude.
It checks
So
all
good.
the boxes, like right or wrong, of the tropes that come with this subgenre. The brutality, the visceral nature of the assaults, like whether it's man versus man, if it's animal versus animal, if it's
Mhm.
um it's just all over, like the basically the jungle is its own predator in a lot of ways. You know, some uh basically become victim to the jungle itself, you know.
Yeah,
uh
there's a real isolation and a real claustrophobia to this movie that I think, Diodato just captures perfectly with that zoom in shot when you first start this film and it's nothing but green. That entire just
oh, the
it,
opening is
the
gorgeous.
opening, it's so amazing, man. We can talk the soundtrack. We can talk so many things about this film. But even when you show it to somebody, they're expecting it to be like a snuff film. Like, all right, we're just gonna get cannibals ripping up. Okay, I'm ready for that. And that's not what you get at all.
No,
You get a movie, like a film within a film. It's fucking smart, man.
it's, and I don't use the term lightly, especially for a majority of these, they do live in the shadow of this film. I can't understate the importance of this one above all else. This is like the crown jewel when it comes to this subgenre, and it's just so important in a multitude of ways. It's not just for Italian horror, it's not just for the cannibal subgenre, but in a lot of ways, like you said, it is what laid the groundwork down for even found footage, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Blair Witch, all that stuff wouldn't
oh
be
yeah,
there without Cannibal Holocaust.
Ghost Watch, all
Ghost, yeah,
all those films. And the one thing that I think I was recently talking, I was having a discussion about this film for Fear by Year. So that's like a monthly segment that we do with uh
right.
uh Jordan and Chris. And we were talking about this recently, just how if you were to take away the almost like the documentary style found footage aspect of it, would it take away from this film? I don't feel like it would necessarily, but I feel like the film is elevated because it
Absolutely.
it has that approach.
Absolutely.
Um, Now, how does the band in multiple countries' reputation influence maybe viewer perception for this film?
Feels like something you're not supposed to see.
No.
And there's so many stories about them, locking down the cast and not talk about it, him going to court, people thinking it was a real cannibal film and people actually died in the jungle. So it was masterfully marketed, and that still has legs today. Like, I mean, this needs like a 4-hour documentary that's just, I mean, so good, dude.
Yeah, it's, I mean, that is one of the main things I remember about this movie was the labels that it had all over it, and just the various VHS covers that you saw in the video store.
Right.
It made me feel like I was about to rent something so sinister. Um, Now, how did you, and you were actually talking about this earlier, how did the VHS availability amplify the film's shock and notoriety compared to maybe seeing this in theaters?
Yeah, just that whole thing. Like VHS has a certain, You get a little bit of tracking. It's like it feels homemade. It feels like this could happen. So even when I watch it now,
100%.
I'm like, it gives it a different authenticity than something that's digitally shot. Or I mean, it's fucked up as it is. It's beautiful to look at. Like,
Well, the commentary for this is, I mean, it's worlds away better than anything that we got in this subgenre because, if you look at it surface level, most people assume, oh, it's just going to be horrific. It's just going to revolve around, a group of journalists that are going to be, torn to shreds. They're going to be eaten by this tribe. And if anything, it's a strong uh, commentary on the perception of the media and what we're being fed. Really, in a lot of ways, is a striking resemblance to what the journal, like what happens to the journalists. I mean, they're the tribes are eating off the journalists, and in a lot of ways, that's a contrast to what we get from the news and what we're
it's
getting.
still relevant. It's
Yeah,
still it was so far ahead of its time. Like,
absolutely. Even now.
it's happening. It's happening constantly. So it's like, man, people are shocked though when they watch it because they're expecting the worst. And there's really bad stuff in this film for sure. I mean, it's got tons of unpleasant scenes, but it's the script isn't horrible. It's shot really, really well, and it makes you think. You're like, okay, so who was really the monster in the film?
Yeah. And now, how do you feel like the found footage narrative style heightened suspense and horror for this film?
Well, it definitely takes you, like, you're definitely getting a front row seat to things that you probably had never seen before, whether that's rituals or, you know, the way people treat one another, lack of respect, and, the different cultures for sure. I think that having it be found footage, it makes it so you have to deal with it. You have to process it differently than a movie that's just like, character so and so goes into the film pans in. It's like, this is just like you're on the shoulder, you're going through it with them, and then when you think you've got it figured out, you go back to a newsroom and you break down why that happened, and then you get more of the story as the
You
film
see
goes.
their reaction
Yeah,
to like what's going on.
yeah,
Um,
super effective.
yeah, I think that's one thing that we should bring up is Diodato uses, or his use of the film within a film structure. I think it does affect us as a viewer, the perception of reality and horror and just what they're seeing. It's like we're kind of along for this viewing, like with what we're seeing is essentially what they're seeing. Um, Now, was there a certain death or attack sequence that left the strongest impression, and why?
Ooh, man. So, when you think about Cannibal Holocaust, two things come to mind for me. There's a tool that they use in this film for
Mm,
mutilation, I'll say,
not in a good
and
way.
not in a good way. I think of that scene because it's really unpleasant. I think of the spike, the
Yep.
woman being impaled, kind of, Vlad the Impaler style, and I think of the turtle.
Ugh,
Um,
damn it. Yeah.
Lives
Okay.
rent free in my head for sure.
The spike is easily, what would you say? That's probably the most iconic image from
Maybe
this.
even of, like, when you think video nasties, that might be the most iconic. That there's stuff in Driller Killer. There's other things that are like people think of, that might associate even Anthropophagus in a way.
Mhm,
But when
the gut
you think
munching.
of video nasties, I think of the spike. I think
Yeah.
of the cover image, and dude, it's iconic, man.
And then do you feel like the film's use of psychological horror is effective alongside physical horror? Obviously, we know that nobody's safe down there in the jungle.
Um, Psychological horror. It does. It's weird because this one, it kind of messes with your safety because for a lot of this film, you know, they're pretty safe. It's more like the Americans are causing problems and they're trying to recreate stuff that maybe happened, or they're trying to market it to the news a certain way. So, we're the asshole in that sense. But as it goes on, there's characters you start to kind of like empathize with, for me anyway.
Mhm.
And, as you get deeper and deeper into, like, there might not be an escape for you now because of what you did earlier, and you kind of learn more of the story. It does ratchet up that psychological terror.
And you're left wondering who's worse. I mean, the
Oh
tribe
yeah.
is presented as, or the primitive people that they encounter are deemed monsters essentially, but really by the end of it, I mean, who's worse? The primitive tribe or the journalists? Because they
I'm
start
team. I think it's a journalist. I mean, 100%
yeah. Um
cause and effect.
and are the graphic scenes more effective because they are presented as real footage?
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
this was
I'm
the
like,
tool. This was the tool I'm thinking of, right? Like
yeah.
that is iconic because they show you everything and it looks so realistic. The blood color, when they decide to show you gore in Cannibal Holocaust, it goes so gory. Um,
Yeah.
Everybody gets a snack in this film, and it's brutal, man.
Yeah. Um, and what ethical questions does the film raise about exploitation, media sensationalism, and human voyeurism? I know it's a lot to unpack, but um,
Yeah, I think that the journalists were the problem. Agendas can be a problem. I don't want to get too soapboxy or Loraxy up on my stump here, but it does feel like the film set, and maybe that's the genius of it, is it does set you up to feel a certain way, to empathize with other people that might be different from you, for sure. And don't, like, we go somewhere we have no business being and try to, whether it's through religion or things we think is not okay, like we start to slowly bring all of our beliefs and values to these tribes, and they don't like it. And so it makes you think a lot. Like, it definitely challenges values. And I mean, and that's really why the Green Inferno, I guess, fails in a way, because it's so mean spirited, where Cannibal Holocaust just shows you everything. It makes you think about, like, well, maybe if we would have just minded our own business, like, was there any harm? Like, you know what I mean?
yeah, it's yeah, there's a lot to unpack with this movie. I mean, it definitely is effective in a multitude of levels with the messages it's trying to get across, and it's not just the gore, it's not just the assaults that occur in this film. Um, Not even the animal attacks. It's so much something that's so much deeper than that and leaves a lasting impact. And that's what I wanted to ask you and kind of close this out with. What lasting impact does Cannibal Holocaust have on not only the cannibal subgenre, but extreme horror cinema for you?
That's a big question. I think, as a fan of extreme horror, I think that we're lucky to have films like Cannibal Holocaust. We need to preserve them and keep
Hmm.
them. We need to keep them in the conversation because, I mean, I just, it's a really near and dear to my heart film. Maybe because it took me a long time to finally track it down, and it was so off-putting and so shocking when I seen it. But it's for different reasons in a way. Like, we can talk about the animal stuff, we can talk about the gore and how that's not, people have, like, knee-jerk reactions to some of this extreme cinema, but it really paved the way for people to try to tell a story that has, it uses gore forward sometimes too much, but there's a lot, it's more than meets the eye, for sure. I could talk about that for 20 minutes, right? It's like
Yeah.
so important to the genre.
One of these times we'll have to do a deep dive into Cannibal Holocaust just because feel like that there's so much more that we could unpack with this film. But with that being said, that wraps up tonight's journey into the savage, shocking world of cannibal horror. Hope you guys all enjoyed this unwavering, descent into all these savage and depraved films. Yep. Hold on. We gotta hold that up. Hold that up.
Oh,
So
my
these are some
camera
of the
focus.
films that we felt best really exemplified the subgenre in its peak form. And I just want to say a huge thank you to Josh from Beyond the Grave Media for stopping by after hours video. Josh, where can viewers find you? And do you have any upcoming videos in the works or projects or content you want to spotlight for everyone listening?
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, thanks for having me, and I love coming on.
Always, man.
I can talk to After Hours Video all day about horror movies. Respect to your channel. Love seeing what you're doing out
Thank you.
there.
Likewise,
Um,
man.
yep, I'm just a small little channel that likes to watch extreme horror films. You can find me on Instagram, Beyond the Gray Media. Um, I'm going to be interviewing, like doing kind of a big interview for my channel in the next week or two with the creator of No Tears in Hell. I think I can tease that.
Hell yeah.
A really, really intense serial killer true story that kind of shocked me a couple of weeks ago. And so I'm talking with him, trying to set the date. So be looking for that. And anytime you want to talk horror, man, love sitting down, chopping it up with you.
Absolutely. Well, I'm sure we will definitely make this happen sooner than later. So tonight we venture deep into the jungle where survival is brutal, the rituals are savage, and the line between hunter and hunted disappeared. Experience the full intensity at home with Valoria Video. If you're looking to add some of these movies to your collection, you can take 10% off with your code for your next order. After Hours 10 hours abbreviated. It's actually down at the bottom of this video. And from the ruthless jungle rituals to the extreme gore that it has defined the subgenre, we've explored the films that shocked audiences, inspired cult followings, and shaped the very concept of horror on the video store shelves. Until next time, keep the lights low, watch the shadows closely, and we'll see you